Default texture, and Matthews was finishing up her evening routine, just like she did every night. As the golden hues of the sunset reflected off the calm water of her boutique rental estate's pool, she took a deep breath, feeling a sense of accomplishment. This place wasn't just a business to her, it was a testament to her years of sacrifice and hard work. She meticulously checked the chlorine levels, straightened the lounge chairs, and locked the gates. Guests came here for peace, and she made sure they got it. Owning this property hadn't been easy. She had fought for loans, struggled with permits, and handled maintenance herself when she couldn't afford help. But all that effort had paid off. The estate was now thriving, attracting high-end visitors who valued its exclusivity. Just as she turned to leave, a sharp voice interrupted her thoughts. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" Sharon turned to see a woman, likely in her mid-50s, standing at the edge of the property. Her arms were crossed, chin lifted, eyes squinting in suspicion. Sharon had seen that look before. "I'm closing the pool for the evening," Sharon replied calmly. The woman took a step closer, her tone laced with condescension. "You work here?" Sharon studied her for a moment. She knew exactly what the woman was implying, but she had no patience for games. "I own this property." The woman blinked, clearly caught off guard. Then, as if rejecting reality, she scoffed. "Oh, really? That's interesting, because I happen to know the owner." Sharon tilted her head. "Do you?" "Yes, and this is a high-end rental. I doubt the owner would be okay with some random person locking things up." Sharon exhaled slowly, keeping her temper in check. "I am the owner. My name is Sharon Matthews. I bought this place in 2014. But the woman wasn't listening. She was already pulling out her phone. "You need to leave. I'm calling the police." Sharon let out a humorless chuckle. "You're calling the cops on me, on my own property?" The woman smirked, pressing the call button. "If you really own this place, then you won't mind proving it to the officers when they get here." Sharon knew this wasn't about proof. It never was. The woman paced as she spoke urgently into her phone. "Yes, I need officers at the Lakeview estate. There's someone trespassing, locking up the pool like she owns the place." A few guests had taken notice of the commotion, some watching from their patios, others murmuring to each other. Sharon rolled her shoulders back, steadying herself. She had dealt with people like this before, but this was different. Minutes later, the distant wail of sirens filled the air. The flashing red and blue lights washed over the estate as two patrol cars pulled up. The woman straightened, her confidence returning. "Officers, thank goodness you're here." She motioned toward Sharon like she was pointing out an intruder. She was trying to close the pool, acting like she owns the place. "I told her to leave, but she refused." One officer, a tall man with sharp features, turned to Sharon. "Ma'am, do you live here?" "No," Sharon replied evenly. "I own this property." The woman scoffed. "No, she does not." The officer glanced between them. "Do you have any identification or proof of ownership?" Sharon nodded, carefully pulling out her wallet. She handed over her driver's license. "I also have property documents inside if you'd like to see them." The officer studied her ID, then turned to the woman. "Ma'am, what's your relation to this property?" The woman hesitated. I live nearby. I've seen the owner before, and I know this isn't her." The officer's expression didn't change. He turned back to Sharon. "Miss Matthews, what exactly happened here?" Sharon crossed her arms. "I was locking up my pool, like I do every night, when she decided I didn't belong and called you." The officer's gaze lingered on Sharon for a moment. Then recognition dawned on his face. "Wait a minute, Sharon Matthews." His partner leaned in, raising an eyebrow. "The Sharon Matthews." The first officer nodded, handing back her ID. "You were on the news a few years back. Didn't you run that community outreach program in Oakland?" Sharon smirked. "Depends which one." The officer chuckled. "The one with the scholarship fund. My cousin's kid got a grant through that program." The woman's face paled. "Wait, she's the Sharon Matthews." The second officer shook his head, a quiet chuckle escaping. "Yep, the first officer turned back to the woman. "You called us claiming she was trespassing, but you never actually checked if she belonged here?" The woman swallowed hard. I assumed." "That's the problem," Sharon interrupted. "You assumed." The second officer crossed his arms. "Ma'am, did she at any point threaten you?" The woman hesitated. "No." "Did she refuse to leave your property?" Another pause. "Well, no." "Then why exactly did you feel the need to call the police?" The woman's face burned red. I thought I was helping." Sharon let out a bitter laugh. "Helping who?" The officer sighed. "Miss Matthews owns this property. There was no crime, no trespassing, nothing for us to investigate." The woman fidgeted. "I see that now." Sharon narrowed her eyes. "Do you?" The woman opened her mouth as if to speak, then shut it again. Silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken words. The officer turned to Sharon. "Miss Matthews, I apologize for the inconvenience." Sharon nodded. "I appreciate that." The woman, now the center of attention for all the wrong reasons, shifted uncomfortably. Guests still watched from their balconies, some even recording the scene on their phones. Whatever reputation she had wanted to protect was already in pieces. As the officers returned to their cars, Sharon turned to the woman. "Next time, think before you pick up the phone." She walked away, not waiting for a response. Back inside her home, Sharon leaned against the door, exhaling slowly. She wasn't shaken. She refused to be. People had doubted her before, and they would again. But no one, not a nosy neighbor, not even the police, could take away what she had built, and that was all that mattered. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Unfolded Tales Explained. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.